Hello and welcome to this week's video. We are going to show you how you can make boxes, flower boxes for any season and liven up an old frame you might have. And just we do seasonal on one side and switch it up on the back.
This is going to be a event workshop that we have these boxes pre-made, and they can come pick out their stencil and they can come pick out their paint colors and take this home. And it's a really fun deal, but you could do this yourself.
Yes, so we're just screwing in the legs, and we've got these off of, I don't even know where the legs came from, but we chopped them up and screwed them on to add some height. And we have a link down below of a video where we built boxes like this to show you guys what you can do with your scrap wood.
So we're taking the new release one-step DIY paint in Veranda, and this one is
Azure.
Azure, yeah. And so this wood is really dry, and we didn't sand it, we didn't clean it, we didn't do anything. It pretty much covered in one coat because it was so porous. And right here we take our Joy Cricut cutter and we make one-time use stencils, and you can say whatever you want. We might make some that say bloom for the workshop, and this is just welcome. We put it down lower instead of in the center because if there's a droopy plant in there, we didn't want to cover up the words too much. And here you just like put that sticky down real good, and then this transfer tape right here, you kind of got to be careful because some of the insides of your letters will come off if you don't do it. See how I'm pulling it away instead of straight up? And I'm using this little thing I got from Harbor Freight. You can use a credit card or whatever. And we're just pulling it off.
Yeah, we sped it up, but you need to do it a lot slower so you don't rip the stencil part when you're taking off the tape.
Yeah, because the one-time use stencil will stretch, so you don't want to get too crazy with it. So take your time and enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And then you rub it down with your finger so the paint doesn't go up under it. You make sure that's real nice and smooth.
Yeah. And then we did the screwdriver in that line, the crevice there between the boards. And you want to stipple the paint on and unload it, like she's using on that palette there. Just because if you put too much paint, it's going to go under the stencil and just not have that crisp line that you're probably wanting.
Less is more, and the DIY paints dry really fast. So you can, by the time you stencil your project, it's almost where you can go back and do your second coat. Because sometimes we use a blow dryer or whatever to heat the paint up. You got to be real careful with these rubbery, vinyl-y thing, or it'll melt it or it'll shrink it. So just do that with caution.
And what's good about this paint we're using is you don't have to seal it. It's one step, so it goes on, it self-levels, and then you're done.
So now here's the fun part. When you're pulling this off because of the wet paint still on there, and you do want to do it when it's wet, it just helps it to not pull the other paint off. And you have to kind of be careful or you'll get the wet paint off the vinyl onto the part that you don't want it on. And then you take a little, kind of looks like a tooth scraper. We get these at Harbor Freight, or a lot of the Cricut machines come with it, and you get the insides of the letters out. It's so fun doing this, to watch it come out so clean.
Yeah, I never thought that it looked like a tooth scraper, but now it kind of feels like I'm at the dentist now.
Well, you can borrow those tools if you need to. Hey, we could save some money and do ourselves.
Yeah.
Gosh, what have we been doing with our lives?
Yeah.
Okay, if you do scrape into the letter, you can just take the point of the little Cricut thing, dip it in your paint, and usually touch it up. I've done that many times. Or an artist brush. Here where I wouldn't suggest dipping your dirty brushes, even if they're fresh clean, into a fresh can of paint, but we knew we were going to use that whole paint because it will spoil it, make it smell bad. Usually it dries out and you can't even tell, so I just keep using it. But right here we're using, I do have these stencils on my website. I can't remember what this is called, but it's JRV. And we got away with doing it one coat. It was good enough. If it, you can let it sit there and dry and then do another coat, but it was fine. We kind of peeked under there and we just left it. And if you would get not a crisp line or something, you can take a sanding block and kind of sand it, make it distressed. But this is crazy. Look at that. I just had to add some fun on there.
And we just did the same technique that we did for the one time use stencil on these ones, just offload your paint and then stipple it on there.
Now we're using the DIY curated stencil for JRB, and we'll have the links to all these products in the description. Now this is several layers, like 2 of them layer together. So you put the base coat down of a dark color. You don't have to, but Debbie, who designed these, felt like it makes your other colors show up better if you have the dark color on first. So we're just building our branches. You can build and build, or make them short, long, curvy, whatever you want to do. I have 2 of these available.
Flutter and feather.
What do you think is so spectacular about this?
That you can layer them and get all these details on the birds and the leaves and the butterflies, and then you can go in and add colors with all the details once you stencil it down.
Yeah, we're so excited for the second step. Here we go.
Yeah, you can layer so much with the stencils for sure.
She taught us to do these like training wheels. So you're gonna see we're stippling like you're supposed to with stencils on this, so the paint doesn't go underneath. But on our second layer of the stencil, where his feet will show up and everything, you can use a paintbrush technique carefully. You don't wanna push the paint up under there, but you'll see what I'm talking about as we go along.
Yeah, so we're just sporadically putting the leaves down, and they have X's on this stencil so that you can piece them together how they're meant to be layered, but you can just have creative freedom and do whatever.
Yeah, I messed one up. I think I used the wrong second layer, and I left, and Caitlin, I come back and she had fixed it just free-handed. So just, these are for fun. This is training wheels, and it helps you be artistic and have some guidelines. And I'm telling you, it's so relaxing. I would really encourage you to get some stencils and maybe some stamps, and you can use it for watercoloring and just guides to do different things.
Yeah, so this is the second part to the stencil, and we're just adding greens to get that detail that we were talking about.
Yeah, whatever colors, if you only have 3 colors, you can mix them and make 6 colors. So get you a black, a white, maybe a red or blue, you know, just get you a couple of colors and mix, and just really don't be too hard on yourself. Just go. If it doesn't turn out right, you can paint back over it.
Yeah, and we weren't liking at first how our leaves were looking, but we just kept adding and building, and until we got the greens and the leaves exactly how we wanted them.
Yeah.
So there's no right or wrong.
Yeah, this is the fun part. Just do it. Just keep going. Nature has lots of dimensions to colors, so you kind of got to think about that. And we kind of wanted it chunky paint too, so you can put it on chunky in one spot and more smoother in one spot to give it some dimension.
Yeah. And we did some water on some spots to kind of blend the paint. I used mainly just one brush and just dipped my brush in different greens. I think you can switch brushes for different greens. Just
yeah, be artistic.
Yeah,
this is fun. One thing about putting this outside, DIY paint does not fade. I had the front of my building painted with some stencils on my glass, cement wall, and a metal door. Absolutely does not fade. It's amazing.
So we did the same thing for the bird as we did the leaves. We just got a bunch of colors and just added them to get some dimension. We also used some of the painterly paint that um, Debbie's Design Diary sells, and it's kind of like acrylic paint, but it's
non-toxic. It doesn't have the toxic stuff in it, and it's a little bit opaque and translucent. It looks really good built over things, but you can mix it in with other colors to intensify them.
I felt like this was a perfect use of it, though.
It worked so good. Well, I've seen her do it on the video, so we copied. And we could have went on and on with this, but we're in a time crunch to get this video out. At the very end of this video, you'll see Caitlin did take some white and kind of did some shadowing or highlights, I guess you'd call it. And that was fun.
Yeah, I didn't think about adding highlights until you had mentioned it, and it really helped it a lot.
Well, I watch all these live, so I did too. We're getting really artsy fartsy over in these parts, and it is so, I love it.
Yeah, and I'm learning so much too.
Yeah, we're just getting in there and going because, I mean, it's paint. With the one-step paints, you do not have to seal it with a top coat or wax. Now, we did use some regular formula DIY clay paint, and so that needed sealed. But I did want to add some shadowing. So instead of putting a clear coat on first and then using the colored waxes so it doesn't get too intense and you can wipe it back and blend it better, you don't have to with the one step. So it's nice to just go in over the one step with your colored waxes to add dimension and fun. And then we just but the DIY branches paint, we sealed it, and you can see it coming to life.
Yeah, I love watching the wax basically do its job. Like, it deepens the colors, adds more life to it. It just looks so good.
Yeah, it's really fun to do. And our wax is non-toxic as well, and it's so easy to use. It's not hard. It's just like butter.
And if you were doing like a lighter piece, it's good to put the clear wax on first and then your colored wax so that you can wipe some back if it's too much for you.
Yeah, because it's really porous and it'll really suck it up. Just like I said, this wood sucked up the paint so good that we only needed one coat. You know, it's kind of like that with the DIY paints. All right, coming up, we are going to show you how to take this frame, and we were going to give a shout out to the maker of this, and you can order these. They're great because you can do a seasonal on one side and do another season on the other side. They were so easy to work with and really nice. I'm just showing you a little vignette in my studio because I thought it was cute. Okay, so here we're going in with the dark colored wax, and then I'm just wiping it back. I really like using a stencil brush or a wax brush, the flathead, and stippling it on when I'm doing the corners and stuff to kind of fade it out. And then I blotted it off in some spots, and then I wiped it off in some spots. So it's really good because the one-step paint, it's just like you can wipe it off and with the Lysol wipe and start again if you don't like it, if it's really dried and cured too. So we have the links in the description on how to make this and construct this box yourself. You can do them all sizes, all seasons. We release a video every week. I'd like to thank Cindy at C&C DIY Factory for making that cute little frame you've seen. And coming up, here's another project.
But wait, there's more. Here is the frame we got from Cindy, and we got these little bottles from Hobby Lobby, but you can also find them at the Dollar Tree, Dollar Store, whatever's around you. We used the one-step paint in honey for this part, and then the veranda stamp from IOD and the IOD ink in Newgrass. And I love this transfer. It is called Fairy Tale Florals. It is one of the smaller sizes, but it is full of amazing designs in it. Look at how cute that is. And so we just put that on these little bottles, and they stick really well. You don't have to seal it on these, but on the rest of the project, it would need sealed with wax or Big Top, all that, which we sell down below. And then we used Barn Quilt is the red color. It's also one step, and that green is Garden Sage in the new release. And so I was just trying to figure out what molds I wanted to use. I ended up going with some butterflies that I painted and made to match my little thing. And then I cut up this hymnal page to put in the bottle, and it's kind of like a little message in a bottle almost. It is so cute. Just adds some cuteness to this. And so I just put it with the rest, and I hot glued those on, and here it is with the rest of our display with our craft products. It looks so good. Follow along and like and subscribe, new videos every week.